Joining us today is the author of the book Bilingual Secrets and the creator of the motivational course Bilingual Secrets with Aj. He's giving the best advice on how to become bilingual if you want to learn another language. He's here today to motivate you to learn a new language and have you desiring to speak a new language ASAP. So, ladies and gentlemen, help me in welcoming the author and the creator, Ajami Winfrey-Glende. Welcome to the show.
I thank you, Joanne. I'm happy to be here.
I'm just very curious to find out as well. Like your courses, so your course and your book motivate people to learn new languages. So why are you so passionate about helping others to become bilingual or learn a new language?
Yeah, so I live in the United States. I'm from Chicago, and I feel like, there's a lot of great things about my country, but one of the things we do lack in is on second language. No, knowing the second language and learning the second language and teaching. And so I just want to see more people knowing the second language, whether they're Americans or whether they're people from abroad. And I think it's just a great experience to be able to have that opportunity to use a second language. And you just open your world to different people and different opportunities. So that's how I feel.
So from your own perspective, what are some of the most compelling reasons for people to learn to really because learning a new language is difficult, right? I tried before, I tried learning French, and it was hard. Maybe because I chose the hardest language to learn. But like this year I was thinking of learning Spanish. Because I heard it's easier to learn. So I was like, okay, let's do something that's easier. But also like widely used, right? How many languages do you speak?
So right now I speak Spanish and Portuguese, and I'm learning French. But I would say I speak English, Spanish, and Portuguese, so three.
So why do you think what are some of the most compelling reasons for people to invest time and effort and even money in learning a new language?
Yeah, I think travel opportunities is one thing, and then my joke that I always say online, I say reason number 23 to learn a second language, your soulmate may not speak English. So, you never know. Anything can happen. Work, making more money. I know those were reasons why I want to learn. So there's a lot of different reasons that someone can want to learn, and just to stimulate your mind as you get older, to want to keep your mind in shape. And I think it's a great opportunity to learn a second language. So there's a lot of opportunities for people to learn, a lot of reasons to.
So what are some of the obstacles or common challenges people usually face when trying to learn a new language?
I think the main thing is directly translating it. If you use Google Translate, not everything's going to directly translate or the idea, the concept. So sometimes you have to think outside of the box for the language. For example, if you want to translate English to Spanish, I'm watching TV in Spanish, and if you go to Google Translate, it will use watch on your wrist. It will use that word. So sometimes that's a challenge if people do Google Translate and things like of that nature. So I think people get stuck on that, but that's why it's good to be motivated with someone like me or have your own teacher or watch TV. So there's different ways to learn, and you can learn the correct way of saying things.
How long would you say it takes for someone to really learn a new language and master it and to speak fluently a new language?
I would say initially basics, 3 months. And I say that because people, if I were to tell you 3 years, it seems so far away. But if I tell you 3 months, then you can at least start the basics and you have that foundation and you're feeling good. So I'd say to start 3 months, but not as I would say after a year, you should feel comfortable with using it. And this is on a consistent basis. Now, if it's over the course of 3 months, you've just done once a week or once a month, of course you're not going to be anywhere else. Or in a year from now, if you've done 2 or 3 times you've listened to a language, of course you're not going to be anywhere. You're not considering progress. But that person that puts in constant effort, maybe 4 to 5 times a week, you'll see the results. And even if you put in more effort, you'll see even better results.
Right. So how would you say what is the best practice for someone who is trying to learn new language, like on a daily basis? Like how do we um actively engage and learn a new language?
Yeah, the best thing what I do, I suggest, especially on my YouTube videos, I talk about that app right there, YouTube or Spotify. That's what I use consistently when I'm learning since I'm learning French right now. But that's what I would suggest anyone now because not everyone likes to read. I have my book here, Bilingual Secrets, The Secrets to Becoming Bilingual. Not everybody likes to read, but you can watch a YouTube video. People watch YouTube all the time. People listen to Spotify all the time. So use those resources and just type in Spanish television or Spanish music or Spanish podcasts, and then something will pop up, and then you'll have the opportunity to watch different things and be entertained and learn different things.
Right. Yeah. I feel like, yeah, I remember, there's I'm not sure if you know Cantonese, so it's like, the language that you speak in Hong Kong. And I remember I wanted to go Hong Kong, like when I was younger, like I wanted to go Hong Kong for work. And I couldn't speak Cantonese because that was the only language, the main language spoken over there. I was asking my friend, like, how do I, like, what is the fastest way to learn Cantonese? They will say, you just need to watch enough Hong Kong drama, you will learn, just pick up. Many people, I think it's based on my own experience. Many people, when we're trying to learn new language, we are struggling with staying motivated in learning a new language, right? Because it's very uncomfortable, very hard, right? So how do you help people stay engaged and motivated in their journey of learning a language?
Yeah, I basically I want to have the end goal in mind. Like, you're doing this because you want to take this trip, or you're doing this because you're motivated by finances or by love. So remember, why you're doing it, and you want to make the process fun. I do tutoring on the side also. People can reach me at Bilingual Secrets on Instagram. They want to DM me for tutoring. Um, but yeah, so just I try to keep it engaging and keep it fun, keep it light, and not put too much stress on the student when we're talking. I like to cater the classes to them, and just show them that, hey, if I can do it, you can do it also.
Right. So what is your book about? Can you show us a book again? I know you have it by your side. Yep. The
Yeah,
bilingual.
bilingual sequence.
Can you share some
So
of the
the
principles that you teach in the book?
Yeah, some of the insights. One of the things I remember, repetition is what I talk about, and it's like if you go to the gym, you want to stay in shape, you have to go consistently. So I talk about repetition is key with regard to learning a second language, because if you start Spanish or French or Portuguese today, and then let's say the next 5 days you don't learn anything, then where are you going to be? But if you do a little bit of Spanish today, a little bit of more Spanish tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, it builds upon it. So I think repetition is the biggest key to learning a second language, whether you're either, if you like reading or you like listening or you like watching TV, whatever you like to do, just do that consistently, and then you will see progress in your second language learning, your second language goals.
Okay, so you mentioned about travel earlier. Would you say um traveling helps, like let's say, I remember there is a story or someone told, can't remember who, but he said if you want to learn Italian, if I were to put you in Rome for like, like a month without teaching you anything, like giving you any guides, right? You would learn Italian. Like, if I were to just put you there, right? And you got to live on your own, like for a month, you would just learn the language. So what would you say is gonna do you think it helps, like when you are immersed in the country, in the culture, when you're trying to learn their language? Do you think it helps?
Yeah, I think both help. I think at home, that's another thing I talk about in my book, at home immersion. I talk about in my course too, at home immersion. So at home immersion and then immersion abroad is great, but if we look at the finance situation, part of
Yeah.
it, not everyone can go abroad for a month or 3 months and just learn. But if you do have that opportunity to do so, I would suggest do so. I lived abroad in Argentina for 5 months years ago, and I had that opportunity. And yeah, it's a great opportunity if you have that opportunity. But if you don't have the opportunity, then I would suggest at home immersion, YouTube, Spotify, and other things that you do. Not everyone listens to Spotify, some listen to Apple Music and things of that nature, other podcasts. But just take that step. And I know anyone can do it. Like I said, let's just be honest. YouTube has so many videos there of so many channels. There's not any reason that you can't, or someone can't learn a second language with just using YouTube alone.
This is interesting. What is the first step for someone who is trying to learn a new language? Like, what is the first step that should take?
First, figure out which language you want to learn. A lot of people say they want to learn five, six, seven, eight, nine, which is fine, but start with one. So that's number one. Figure out which language you want to learn. Let's say, for example, in my aspect, for me, I'm learning French, and that's a Quebecois flag. They speak French in Canada. So it's like, well, what do I want to learn? I want to learn French. So what do I like in English? Okay, I like hip hop music. Okay, so let me type in French rap music, or I like interviews. So let me type in French interviews, or I like movies. Let me type in French movies. So whatever you like, it's basically like substitute. It's like with math, they say substitute A for B or for X. So substitute whatever you like. You like movies, French movies. You like TV, French TV. So something like that. So that's the first push. And then once you do that and get used to it, you can become successful and stay successful in the second language.
Yeah, that's so true, right? Like replace something that you love, right? Like it's the same for fitness advice, right? Like if you want to cut taking sugar, then you have to replace it with something else, right? Like zero sugar or things like that. So, and you also have created a course. Can you talk to us about the course? What is it all about?
So it was based upon my book. So I published my book maybe 4 or 5 years ago, well, in 2018. So that was the year. And then I decided recently, you know what? Not everyone likes to read. Like I talk about YouTube and Spotify. So I said I should create a course where people can get more intimate motivation with me. You know, I feel like I'm a motivational person, even if I'm just not talking about languages. If I'm talking with my friends about something or my family, I'm trying to motivate them to get wherever they want to get, wherever they want to be in life. So the course is the opportunity for students to listen to me speak to them in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. So lessons. So I have lessons in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. And then the course, I actually have a free preview. If someone wants to sign up for free, they can sign up and they can hear me speak English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Get 3 lessons also. So the course is basically my book, but in a more video setting. So that's the cool thing about the course.
Yeah. How about so I've always been impressed and fascinated by people who can speak multiple languages, like 5 languages. How do they actually do it? Like how do you store so many different languages in your mind? Like that's always like, what impresses me the most. So what would you say is really the secret since that's your book, right? The secrets like to becoming bilingual or trilingual, even like speak multiple languages, like what is really the secrets?
Yeah, I think one of the things I don't talk about in my book, but I think one of the secrets is the mnemonics where you associate one thing to another thing. And I think if you do that, you can create it, have like, you can remember things easier. Like, I don't have a specific example right now, but if, for example, I have the flag right there, it's red, and in Spanish it's rojo, so it starts with an R. So if you just remember, oh, red, rojo, R-O J-O, rojo. So it starts with an R. So something like that, where you can just remember it easily, and it's like, oh, rojo, it's two syllables. So something like that. So where you can just you cut it into pieces, and you can just listen to it in and out, and then you'll be fine.
Right. And what would you say to people if they are, because I remember when I was trying to learn French, I was like so embarrassed to even speak French or even like trying to speak and making mistake, looking stupid or sound stupid, right? Like what would you say to people who are so afraid of being embarrassed or being laughed at, when trying to speak a new language?
Yeah, I mean, I know that's the thing sometimes, but you shouldn't worry about that. You should say, just take a small word, like in Spanish we say hola. So just take it, maybe even listen to yourself and compare it to a native speaker, and don't feel embarrassed. And it happens. You're not gonna have perfect pronunciation the first week or even the first month, but if you practice, you'll eventually get there. So just even like they say, practice makes perfect, and if you practice a lot, you'll eventually get there.
Mm. And back to your course, why is it in 3 different languages?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I wanted to make it in different languages so it can be different from other courses out there. That's number one. So that's a difference because most courses, when they're teaching something, it's only in one language. And so I wanted to show that, hey, you know what? I'm teaching you in the 3 languages that I know, and I'm also encouraging you. So first, it's in English because so it gets to a global audience, the English speakers, people that only know English. Second, I have it in Spanish to get to, let's say, somebody they only know Spanish. And third, I have it in Portuguese for people that only know Portuguese. But secondly, let's say you speak English and you want to hear me speaking Spanish, you can hear me speaking Spanish, and you can be motivated in Spanish. So those are the reasons why I've made it in 3 languages. So not only can you be motivated in your language, but you can be motivated in the other language that you're trying to learn.
Yeah, I think you are really like walking your talk, right? Because you are teaching people how to be bilingual and you are bilingual. And that's, I think, a perfect example. If you can do it, they can do it too. So, and what would you say? who is this course for? Like, who should be taking this course?
Yeah, so I would say two people should be taking this course, or three people. One, if you're just interested in learning a second language, that's number one. That's the first person. Two, if you're in classes, you're, let's say, a high school student or a college student, and you're taking language courses, and you want to be motivated, you should learn it. And three, if you just want to learn something new, you want to pick up a new hobby, I would suggest getting my course because it will definitely motivate you to learn that second language, and that's why I'm here to just motivate you. So you have lifetime access to it. Like I said, you have the free preview if you want to sign in for the free preview, and then you can see me speaking the three languages. And then if you just do decide to purchase a course, you can purchase a course, and you can have the opportunity to listen to me speak the different languages, listen to me motivate you each and every step of the way.
Beautiful. So what are some of the other projects that you are currently working on right now? Could be a podcast. Are you going to start podcasts or, about languages? Like what are some of the other exciting projects that you are working on right now?
Yeah, the main thing that I've been working on for a while, maybe the last 6 months, is my YouTube channel, which can be found Bilingual Secrets. And I just want to continue to make content on YouTube. I have the course right now, which is obviously it's a paid material, but YouTube is obviously free. And I want people to just be able to go to my YouTube channel and see different things that I talk about. For example, in one of my most famous YouTube videos is Angolan Portuguese. So I do like my impression of Angolan Portuguese and how it's spoken in Angola, and people can, they can. It's like comedy kind of. So people can see different things, Angolan Portuguese, or I talk about Quebec or French. I talk about Argentine Spanish. I talk about things that aren't normally talked about on YouTube. So that's what I'm really focusing on right now. So I want to see, people can be motivated through that. If let's say they don't have any money to buy the course, they can watch the YouTube channel for free, and they can enjoy my YouTube videos that I have. I have over 800 YouTube videos right now.
So where is the best place for people to reach out to you and connect with you?
Yeah, so my course, ajtutor.com, that's ajtutor.com. If you want to buy the book, it's at bilingualsecrets.com. That's bilingualsecrets.com, or on Amazon, Bilingual Secrets. And then if you want to reach out to me via Instagram or Threads, it's at Bilingual Secrets also.
All right. And is there anything else that you really want to talk about? Perhaps I didn't ask you or didn't let you today. Before we move on, there's still a final section of our podcast.
No, I think we covered a lot. Like I said, I just want in 20 years from now more English speakers to be bilingual. And I think if they, follow my instructions on YouTube or follow my course, I would love to see that.
Yeah, beautiful. So we always end our podcast with final five rapid fire questions. So every question, these are the five questions that I ask all my guests at the end of the show. This question has to be answered in either one word or one sentence maximum.
Okay, great. I'm ready.
All right. The first question is, what is one thing you wish you knew earlier?
Time is important.
Love it. Second question, if you could live your life all over again, what would you do differently?
Learn Spanish earlier.
Why is that? Is it because it was easier to learn when you're younger?
Well, I learned it at 12, so it's like if I'd have learned it at 8, then I would have been better. I would know more than what I know now. It's always it would have been better to learn earlier. It's always like one of those things.
Yeah, it's true. The third question, what is something you're trying to learn or curious about right now?
I would say Quebecois French.
The next question, if you have 5 minutes and the whole world is listening to you, what would you say?
Learn a new language.
Yeah, I kind of knew that. The last question is, what brings you the greatest joy?
Oh yeah, it's be one sentence. Languages.
Languages. Whoa, okay.
Yeah,
Really? I mean, like languages bring you joy?
yeah, yeah,
Beautiful. Yeah. Okay. There's
yeah.
something new. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much again. This has been so wonderful. I'm learning so much from you because like I told you this year, one of my goals is to learn Spanish. Now I feel motivated to go and learn, right? Maybe I'll phosphorus, right? Because I keep just like keep I don't really have a specific why do I learn it. I just feel like, oh, it's cool to learn a new language, and it's like, I just want to constantly improve myself, right, and get better, right? So there's really no tangible, like, why should I go and learn, so I don't really feel motivated. If not, I would be learning it already, but I just, like, it's something that I would love to learn. So yeah, thank you so much again. It's really helped me personally as well. I'm sure my listeners will enjoy a lot from today's episode. And remember to share this episode with someone, your friend, your family, or anyone you know who is interested in learning a new language. I'll put all his links in the show note below, so make sure you go and check it out, buy the book, enroll in his course, and follow him on Instagram, and thank him for coming to our show today. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss another episode coming to you every Wednesday. And follow us on Instagram if you haven't already, because we want to hear from you. And I will always leave you the same way as I leave you with every other episode. Show up. The world needs you, and you need you. Thanks for listening, and I wish you all a joyful and amazing day ahead.